Hello, welcome to the show. Welcome to Not Just Nintendo, a video game podcast where I talk about Nintendo. But it's not just Nintendo here at Not Just Nintendo, as I talk about other video games as well. It's now been nearly 3 weeks since the Switch 2 launched, and obviously I have much more to say on the Switch 2 this time. Obviously, I've touched on it quite a bit. Obviously, I've been talking about it really since the podcast started, back in February. We're at episode 19 now. That's a pretty good number. It's not really significant in any way, but, we're coming up on 20. 20 is definitely a significant number, and, 26 is half a year, so, we're kind of getting there, It's been going for a little while. It's definitely not old, but it's been going a little while now, so that's nice. We're rolling, right? I wish we'd be rolling in the email department. I guess I'll plug it right here at the top of the show. Now is probably not the best time, but I have to hope that somebody will actually see this. Please email the show. I want to answer questions. I want to comment on any comments you send in. So email the show at notjustnintendo@gmail.com. That is NOTJUSTNINTENDO@gmail.com. Or if you're on YouTube or on Spotify, you can simply comment there directly if you don't want email. If you want to email, you of course still can. But if you're on either of those two places, that's fine. Currently, the podcast is also out on Amazon Music. It's not on Apple Music. That's an important thing. And I believe it's on Pocket Casts, if it worked. I haven't actually checked on that. I should probably check and make sure it's actually on Pocket Casts. It's supposed to be on Pocket Cast. I'll probably be adding it to some other places over time. I'm going to have a lot more time starting tomorrow. Well, we're really starting 2 days, 2 days from now. So you're seeing this on Wednesday. On Thursday, because I'm recording this on Tuesday, as per usual. On Thursday, I will suddenly have a lot more time, because then I am totally done with all things school related. Today I had 2 final tests after classes ended. And I had one today, I have one tomorrow. Obviously, I'm talking a day behind you guys. So I had one on Tuesday morning, one on Wednesday morning. And then I have some stuff after school hours as well. But then I'll be totally good. Everything will be done. And I won't really be busy again, as far as I know. At least not regularly until like August when marching band starts. So I'll have some time. I'll probably do a lot of live streams. I have some video ideas. I'm really hoping to have a big July here. I'm hoping to do a lot of things in July. And I guess actually next episode is going to be in July. That's not good, because I need to get things in order, actually, for some of these big July videos I was planning. So I really need to get on that, because we have literally like a week. So I'll be on that. I already made my top 50 list. I don't know if I've talked about this. I don't know. I don't think I had it made last week. Yeah, I definitely hadn't made it by last week. So since last episode, I have made a top 50 list. The top 50 games of all time for me, my personal top 50. There's obviously a lot of things that I haven't played that I'm sure if I did would end up in that top 50. So over time, as I play more things will be added in there. But yeah, I'll make that video. I think it's July 4th is the first Friday of the month. If I have it done by then, I'm hoping to get it out then. So it could be coming out pretty soon. It'll be after the next podcast episode for sure. Maybe a couple. But yes, that's the plan, is to get that out sooner rather than later, is early on in July. And then I've got some other big plans for July. I've got like the collection tour. I need to get that in order as well. So there's quite a few things. I'm currently looking into some challenges based on some video games, not specifically for July, just in general. I was trying to figure out what weird and wacky controllers I had to try to beat games with. So I don't know. There's gonna be a lot of stuff I'm gonna be trying to figure out. Starting Thursday, I will be able to plan out a bunch of things. I'll be able to live stream all the time, hopefully. So that's gonna be exciting. That's gonna be good for the channel. I hope you guys are hyped for all that stuff. So there's gonna be a lot more content. Hopefully I can stop falling under 450. I hit 450 subscribers like a week and a half ago, or maybe even 2. And then it's now like the 4th time that I've fallen back down to 449 and then hit 450 again. So I need to like get a couple more, so I'm like consistently at 450. And if you guys want to help out, or sorry, at 550, I should say, not 450. If you guys want to help out, it would be greatly appreciated. I may also be working on the Minecraft channel and the Geography channel a little bit over July. We'll see what happens. I guess I shouldn't promise anything. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. I gotta hold my horses here just a little bit. So let's talk a little bit about the show today. I'm obviously gonna be talking about the Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct, and probably also other things about Donkey Kong Bonanza. By the way, 23 days until Donkey Kong Bonanza. Actually, I guess when you're seeing this, it's 22. So I should talk in terms of when you're seeing this rather than in terms of when I'm recording this. So 22 days for you till Donkey Kong Bonanza. I guess that's pretty cool, pretty exciting. But Bonanza, I think that's going to be the first big thing on Switch 2. I mean, you could say Mario Kart World's a big thing. I should just stop myself there before I catch myself complaining about Mario Kart World again. So stay tuned. There will be more complaining about Mario Kart World later in the show. Yes, so I should say, I'll be talking a lot about Bonanza. There are a couple things related to Bonanza, specifically the Bonanza Direct. I'll be talking about that. Also, there's a cool amiibo. I have something to say about that. And then I'm also going to be talking about a bunch of games that I've played. I think I've only beaten one, sometimes I get my time frame wrong. I can't always remember, how long exactly it's been. Yeah, okay, I just beat the one this week. So I'll talk about that game. And I actually have quite a bit to say about it, and then I'll definitely talk a little bit more about some things I've played on Switch too. Although, to be fair, I really haven't played that much, or that many different things. I think I've played quite a bit of a couple things, but not really a ton of very many things. And also I've been playing stuff on PC, and also I haven't had much time. So, again, next week, I think I'll probably have played a lot more than I have this week. I don't know if I'll have beaten things, but I imagine at least something I'll probably beat. But yeah, I'll definitely be playing more then. So I'm excited. I hope you're excited. So yes, I'll be talking about stuff I've beaten, stuff on Switch 2. Obviously, there's always going to be stuff on Switch 2 to talk about. The thing's brand new. And then we'll talk about some news-related things. I think that's just kind of going to be how the podcast goes from now on. We're going to do games I've played, and then news, and then if I can fit some other things in there in the beginning or in the middle, that's fine too. But I think that's going to kind of be the regular format of the podcast, and obviously, if there's something else that I want to spend a whole period of time on, I can do that. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. I think that's going to be a good place to. I think that's going to be a good strategy moving forward. So we're going to take a quick music break, and then we'll be back, and we will talk a bit about some games that I've beaten, and I guess probably some other things. I'll probably go off track, because that's just kind of what you got to expect. If you're new to the podcast, that happens a lot. I go off track all the time, but that's why you're here, right? So, I'll be right back. Alright, so let's talk about some games I played. I think I'm actually going to start on PC. I tried a couple of things in the last week, a couple of things I actually kind of bounced off of. The first thing that I'll talk a little bit about is Chuchel. That is Chuchel, and that means, it's in Czech. I think it means something along the lines of ball of fur or something. Hold on, I'll look it up, because I should remember this, because I remember looking this up, and I read a little bit about the word in Czech. I guess the development team is in Czechia, which obviously makes sense. A dirty ball of dust or hair. There you go. Chuchel. And that is literally how I would describe the main character in Chuchel, who I assume his name is Chuchel. Chuchel, I don't know if that's how you say it. Honestly, I could be saying that completely wrong. Chuchel, I don't know. Whatever the case, I'm going to call it Chuchel, and if I'm wrong, please feel free to correct me with an email, notjustnintendo@gmail.com. Whatever. So, yes, Chuchel. It is a puzzle game. It's like a point-and-click puzzle game, and basically all the puzzles stem around Chuchel trying to get this cherry. It's like, it's a cherry, it's got a stem, it's a little red ball. It's a cherry, obviously. I mean, it's literally, everybody knows what a cherry looks like. Nobody's that dumb, I don't think. If you are, I don't know what to tell you. So Chucho, he's trying to get his cherry, and basically there will usually be some other animal or some other creature trying to stop you, or maybe there's some sort of course or something you've got to get through to get to the cherry. I did not beat this game. I probably will come back to it, and I probably will beat it. It just doesn't seem like something that I was super into. Like, the puzzles were a little hard at times. There were some fun things, though. There was one where you had to go play, like a Space Invaders level. So you're bouncing up and down. And, generally speaking, you can't really control the character. You really just click on something. You click on some NPC, and then it'll be like, talk to them or bounce on their head, right? I mean, you got a few options, and then you've got to kind of try things out until they work. It's a lot of trial and error. But there was one puzzle where you actually were sent to like a Space Invaders level, and you had to basically they dripped paint. They're like these little blobs, and they dripped paint, and you had to run in front of the paint, become that color, and then you could jump up and take out whatever ones of the corresponding color. Honestly, I'm probably really not explaining that very well, but there was a Space Invaders themed level. Then there was a Pac-Man themed level where you literally were playing as Pac-Man, but Pac-Man was chasing you, which seems a little backwards. You'd think it'd be like the ghosts, but no. Pac-Man was chasing you. It's like that Shadow Labyrinth game coming out on July 18th, right? Pac-Man. It's like a Pac-Man horror game. Anyways, you get what I'm saying. So Chucho, you have to play as Pac-Man for a little segment, and then there's also a little segment where you're in a Tetris level, and the Tetris blocks are falling, and you have to kind of dodge them and move out of the way best you can. So there were a few things. I thought those levels were fun because they were obviously callbacks to other video games, but generally speaking, the regular puzzles in this game I didn't find terribly interesting. This was the thing that was free on the Epic Game Store not long ago. So, I mean, I don't know, whatever, it was fine. I'll probably go back to it at some point. I don't know if I'll restart or if I'll just go back to where I was. Also free on the Epic Game Store, I got the Operator last week. I haven't tried that yet, but I probably will a little bit. Again, for anybody, this isn't like a sponsored segment or whatever. If the Epic Game Store wants to, I'm down, but obviously they won't. But on the Epic Game Store, you can get free stuff all the time. Every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, they drop a new free game. And it's oftentimes it's like a little indie game. Sometimes it's a little lame. There's like some, I don't know, shooter or something I don't really care about. I'm sure there are people that do, but oftentimes it's like a free little indie game that I probably wouldn't buy otherwise. There actually haven't been a few, though, that I was going to buy, and then they were free on here. So it's worked out pretty well. Sometimes it's 2 free games. It seems like they've finally gone back down to 1, but at one point it used to be 2. But yeah, the next one coming up is Sable. It's an indie game. It was actually on my Deku deals, so I took it off because now I don't need to buy it. So anyways, I would definitely recommend using the Epic Game Store. Even if you want to use like Steam to actually buy things, use the Epic Game Store just to get the free stuff. That's what I've done. So I think it's a good idea. But anyways, so Chucho was one of the free things in the Epic Game Store. Another thing that I've tried that's free, but I think it's usually free. I don't think it was free for a limited time. That game is Rugrats Adventures in something or another. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. I can't remember the name of some of these games, man. There's too many games to remember the name of them all. Adventures in Gameland. There you go. Rugrats Adventures in Gameland. It's a 2D platformer. This was the game that had a release on the NES a few years ago from Limited Run. So you can play it on NES, or you can play it on PC with modern visuals if you want, or you can actually choose to have the NES visuals, which is kind of cool. I chose modern visuals, and I started playing through it, and it's really not a long game. It's like 2 hours or something, or an hour 45. But man, I didn't feel like the platforming felt very good. I didn't feel like it felt like it really did feel like an NES game, which I guess is what they were going for. But NES platformers aren't always the best. There's a few that I like. Like I like Kirby's Adventure. I like Mario 3. I like Mario 1, and that's about it. There's pretty much nothing else. So, there's a few decent ones. From the little bit I've played of like Blaster Master, that's alright as well. But generally speaking, NES platformers aren't great, so it seems a little weird to base a whole game off them. But it is what it is. I'll probably go back to it again at some point and try to beat it. But I guess it's not really productive to talk about stuff I didn't like. Let's talk about stuff that I have been playing on PC and actually a lot. That game is Final Fantasy 3. So obviously I played Final Fantasy 1 back in February, maybe. January. I don't know, January, and then Final Fantasy 2 in February. And then I took a little hiatus for Final Fantasy, and now I'm back. I'm back for more. I'm back for Final Fantasy 3. My dad and I were actually playing through these together, so we were both playing Final Fantasy. I think I beat the first one before him. I mean, he's beat most of these before, not the Japan-only ones, but he's beat 1, 4, and 6 before, because those are the ones, obviously, back in the day that came to North America, whereas 2, 3, and 5 did not. So he had played the 3. And I think I beat 1 first while we were racing. He beat 2 first. And then he started 3 and didn't like it. So I was a little concerned that I wouldn't like 3. And sure enough, I love 3. 3 is great. So 3, I think I don't know. I think it's actually a lot better than 1 or 2 so far. I don't really know. I've never looked into this. Is this a common opinion that 3 is bad or is good? Like, I don't know what the general consensus is on stuff like that. But I know that from what I've played of 3 so far, I really enjoy a lot of things about it. I love the job system. I think the dialogue is a lot better. In Final Fantasy 1 and 2, it seems like, you go to a town, and there's obviously people there, and you can talk to them, but generally they'll just repeat lines. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen at all in 3, but like in Final Fantasy 1, they would, like, everybody in the town would say the same thing, except for 1 or 2 people who might actually give you information on something. Whereas in Final Fantasy 3, there's only 1 or 2 people that actually repeat each other. Most of them actually do have unique dialogue, and they say something helpful to tell you where to go, or it's just some lore or something added in on there, just some random dialogue. Even if it's nothing important, it just definitely, I think it enhances the experience because it's actually worth going along and trying to talk to every person in a village because they usually, most of them, or at least a large percentage of them, actually have something interesting to say. Whereas in Final Fantasy 1 and 2, it was like every now and then somebody had something interesting to say. So I really don't even bother in 1 or 2 with a lot of the dialogue. Whereas in 3, I've actually been talking to every single person in every single town. Because it's just so much more engaging. And I think the story's more engaging. I'm not necessarily like... Story just isn't really a big thing for me in video games. Sometimes it's cool, I like it. And some of the really story-heavy games I've played, like the Spider-Man games, like The Last of Us, that kind of stuff. It's cool, it's appreciated, I guess, to a point. But I definitely don't need it, So I'm totally cool with an RPG not having a good story. Like, I can play, a game like Mario RPG or... I don't know, a Mario and Luigi game, and I'm like, whatever, who cares, right? And honestly, even some of those stories are alright, they're not, like, that bad, but they're not, I don't think they're quite as, they don't really put as much thought into, like, these deep, they're not trying to make you feel things in the way that a lot of these other ones are, and I appreciate some of the good writing, but I just don't really have those feelings about a lot of these stories, but, so it's alright, so I don't really mind the story too much, but I will say, it just adds a little extra flair on top. I don't really need it, but I'll take it, you know what I mean? So Final Fantasy 3 so far is a lot better in that aspect too, and it really feels like, obviously I'm playing the pixel remasters of these on Steam, so I'm not playing them on original hardware, but you could just tell, even though they're remastered, that Final Fantasy 3 was more pushing the limits of the NES, where 1 and 2 really were not, to quite the same degree. Obviously it was later on, so they had figured a lot of things out, they were able to better, take advantage of the hardware. But yeah, it's very noticeable. It's like the 3 Mario games, right? I mean, you got Mario 1, you've got Doki Doki Panic, because that doesn't count, because it's not a real Mario game, and then you got Mario Bros. 3, and obviously Mario Bros. 3 is a lot better, right? Like, it clearly takes advantage of the hardware more, it looks better, it's smoother, a lot of things are better about it, right? It's one of those, it's longer, and I think you can notice the same kinds of things between the first 3 Final Fantasy games. And it makes me really excited to try Final Fantasy 4, which over here was Final Fantasy 2, to see, like, what improvements that one made, right? Like, maybe moving on to better hardware, like the Super Nintendo, maybe they were able to do more because they were pushing the limits already for the NES. Now that there's new hardware, maybe they can improve things even further. So I think when I finish 3, which I think I'm actually getting close to halfway through, I've really been flying through it. But I think when I finish 3, I think I'm going to hop right into 4. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I know my dad wants me to play Breath of Fire, so I might play that instead. Breath of Fire has been on my RPG list for quite a while as well, so I'm totally down to play some Breath of Fire. I didn't want to start it until I had at least finished Final Fantasy 3, or I get like super stuck or something, because it made no sense to play Breath of Fire and Final Fantasy 3. I think they're a little too similar for that. So maybe actually I'll play Final Fantasy 3, then Breath of Fire. So maybe that's what I'll do. Either way, though, I'll definitely be playing another RPG, probably another fantasy one. Other RPGs, though, I still at some point need to play Earthbound. Earthbound's definitely on my list of games. As far as other fantasy RPGs, I should say, I have the other Final Fantasies. I have the Breath of Fires. I have Golden Sun. I need to play Chrono Trigger, right? So there's a lot of stuff. Earthbound, further down that path, I want to play Earthbound, but then I actually also want to play Undertale, because obviously I've heard Undertale has a lot of callbacks to Earthbound. It takes a lot of inspiration. So I want to play them both. I have them both. I might as well play Earthbound first. I have tried Mother 1. It's a garbage video game. I don't know who would ever play that game. It's awful, so I don't think I'm going to try that. But yeah, I could see myself playing Earthbound soon, and then Undertale, and then moving into Deltarune, because Deltarune is a pretty new thing on Switch too. I mean, I guess Chapter 1 came out quite a few years ago now, but there's been new chapters that came out coinciding with the launch of Switch 2. So, I don't know. I think that would be a good thing to go down that path. So there's going to be a lot of RPGing this summer. I can already see it. I know this has kind of been a year of RPGs for me. I've played quite a few, and it seems like I'm only going to further go down that path. So, I'm excited. I think it's going to be fun. I think that's kind of all I've done on PC. I had just a ridiculous amount of games, actually a staggering number on my desktop, all downloaded and ready to go. I've cleared a few things out. I guess I should also mention, I did start a game called Grimm's Hollow. It's a free game on Steam. I think it's always free. Started that game, and it's another RPG. It's very short. It's alright, I'll probably keep playing it. I'll probably beat it for next time, I imagine, because it's so short. So I probably talk about that a little bit, but I don't know, it's fine. It doesn't seem like anything too crazy, but it's also free, so I mean, what can you expect, right? I'm not saying everything free is bad. I've actually had a lot of good experiences with free stuff, but I just feel like you don't really know what to expect with a free thing quite the same way, right? So that's definitely something to be said. Interesting thing, I mentioned earlier there were a couple games in my Deku Deals that over the last several months have been free on the Epic Game Store. There was a free game on Steam that was on my Deku Deals the other day, and that game was SteamWorld Dig. So the SteamWorld series, I'm not terribly familiar with the SteamWorld series. Was SteamWorld Dig the first one? Or was SteamWorld Heist the first one? I actually don't know that. So SteamWorld Heist was 2015. SteamWorld Dig, I know it was one of those two that was the first one. 2013. Okay, SteamWorld Dig is the first one then. Okay, good. Because it was free on Steam the other day. Actually, I think just yesterday. It might even still be. Yeah, I think it is till the 26th. So if you're watching this on the day it comes out, you still have some time to go claim SteamWorld Dig if you want. It's free on Steam. So it was also discounted on Switch, but I think it's totally. Well, I know it's totally free on Steam. There's also the bundle with SteamWorld 1 and 2 on Steam that's also cheap. I might end up buying that, or I might end up buying SteamWorld Dig 2 on Switch. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I know they're super cheap right now, all the SteamWorld games, or at least many of them, so I was kind of thinking about it, but at the same time, I mean, really, should I buy a bunch of them if I'm not going to end up liking SteamWorld 1? I mean, I don't know. So, anyways, I bought the first SteamWorld game. I really don't know much about SteamWorld. I've heard good things from some of the podcasts I listen to, so I'm excited to try it, but I was like, you know what, it's free. I can't pass that up. I had actually been eyeing up SteamWorld Dig 1 and 2 for a while there on Deku Deals because they were getting so cheap. They kept discounting, and they kept going lower and lower every time, so I was like, alright, at some point I'm probably going to pull the trigger here, and then the 1 went free, so I was like, alright, great, that's my cue, right? I'll happily take something for free. I'll take anything for free, even if I don't like it, so I'll claim it and not play it if I don't like it. So that's kind of where I'm at. But yes, I think the Epic Game Store is a good thing to take advantage of. Obviously, this was free on Steam instead of the Epic Game Store, which is a little unusual. There's usually not quite as much for free, or at least, quality stuff for free on Steam. There's sometimes like bad stuff, but there's usually not quite as much of the good stuff free on Steam. So it's because the Epic Game Store, they're so desperate to try to get people on their store because they're fighting an uphill battle trying to compete with Steam. So I understand why it happens. It's just a little weird sometimes. So I think that was all on PC for real this time. And I guess now I'll talk a little bit about what I've been playing on Switch 2. And I should mention, besides the PC and the Switch 2, I have not played anything else in a couple weeks now. The PS5 is collecting dust. The Xbox has been collecting dust for months. PS5 has been collecting dust since the Switch 2 came out, so I don't know. I will probably, honestly, probably this week, because I'm getting out of school, I will probably fire up the Wii U again. I'll probably fire up the PS5 again. I'm probably going to do my regular thing of having a few things on every console, including PC. I'll probably have a couple things on PC, a couple things on Switch 2, a couple things on PS5, and a couple things on Wii U. I think that's probably what I'll end up doing. That's generally what I do when I have a lot of time, but it just depends. I mean, I don't always stick to it. I know right now there's probably going to be more stuff on Switch 2 because it's the new thing. I want to play it a lot. But I'm actually getting pretty close to fully wrapping up some Switch 2 stuff, so we'll see on that. Obviously not Bravely Default. That's a long game. I found it amazing. It's one of those things, like, obviously the reviewers must have got it early, but I know there were a bunch of reviews that were coming out just a couple days after the game came out. This is for Bravely Default Flying Fairy Collection. And I was actually, concerned for the people that played it. I was like, seriously? Did the reviewers actually not get this early and they just, beat it all in those 2 days? Or, I don't know. Maybe they did get it early and they didn't get it early enough. I don't know what the deal was. But anyways, I just found it kind of interesting sometimes. Regardless, I guess we should actually talk about the Switch 2 games like I said I would. I should say, I really haven't played a lot of the Switch 2 stuff this week. I know Welcome Tour, I talked about Welcome Tour a little bit last week. Haven't played any more Welcome Tour. I do plan to. I guess I should probably play it before it's not relevant anymore. A game like Mario Kart World, I mean, that'll still be kind of relevant in a couple of years, but a game like Switch 2 Welcome Tour, I don't think it was ever really relevant, but the longer I wait, the less and less relevant it is, so I should probably get back on that, but we'll see what happens. And I beat Brothers, Tale of Two Sons. I think I talked about that last week. I definitely did, yeah, I talked about it last week. I have since, though, beat another game. That game is one that I talked about last week quite a bit. That game is Sonic Generations. Sonic Generations, I guess I can start by reiterating some of the stuff I said last week. I'm not really a big Sonic fan, 2D or 3D. I have tried Sonic a few different times, and it was fine. I mean, sometimes it was bad. I tried Sonic Mania a few years ago, and I really didn't like that, and I had heard that was, the best one, so I was like, okay, well, if I don't like the best one, then I guess I just hate Sonic altogether. I also tried Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, which some people like, and I wasn't really feeling it. But now, Switch 2 is brand new. Sonic Time Shadow Generations have actually been kind of eyeing up since last year when it came out. I think it was in October. I've been kind of eyeing it ever since then, and so when the Switch 2 came out and there was nothing on it, and it was Sonic came out at launch, I was like, well, sure, I'll pick that up. So I did. I picked up Sonic X Shadow Generations just a couple weeks ago now. Played it quite a bit. Obviously, I've started with Sonic Generations. I'm now playing Shadow, but I have not beat that one quite yet. But yeah, Sonic Generations, there's 8 levels or something, and the first act you play in 2D as old school Sonic from the Genesis games. I mean, he's not pixel art, but it's that Sonic as he's moved through time. And then there's the modern Sonic from the 3D games. I guess they're both kind of modern, right? Because there's still games coming out with both. I mean, you could point to Sonic Superstars a couple years ago, and that classic Sonic's still in that, even if he's not pixel art. So I don't know. I guess it's it's a little debatable. But anyway, there's 2 Sonics. One of them does the 2D stuff. One of them does the 3D stuff. In each level, there's 2 acts, like any other Sonic game, or like most other. And there's a 2D act and then a 3D act, and that's how it goes for every level in the game. And I should say the 2D act is technically all rendered in 3D, like a lot of platformers nowadays, but you're moving on a 2D plane for the most part. I mean, there are actually a few situations where there is some depth to it. You might curve around a bend and you're on a different plane, but you're generally just moving in 2D. And then in the 3D levels, similarly, there are sometimes some sections where you go into 2D, kind of like a Mario Galaxy kind of thing, right? Where it's a 3D platformer, but every now and then you might enter a 2D section, it's that kind of idea. Or there might be some top-down stuff, behind-the-back stuff. I mean, it just depends. Those second levels can vary a little bit more. So, anyways, I definitely was enjoying my time with Sonic Generations, which I didn't really expect because, like I said, I've had bad experiences with Sonic in the past. I'm generally not a huge fan, so I actually was a little surprised to enjoy Sonic Generations as much as I did. Last week, I left off having done basically all the actual levels, but I still had to go do another boss or two before the final boss, and what I didn't realize was that I was also going to have to go gather some Chaos Emeralds, which I guess I should have known, being a Sonic game. And so I had to do that as well. So, I don't know, there was some stuff still to do, a little bit more than I thought, but I ended up wrapping it up without too much hassle. I'll talk a little bit about some of the Chaos Emeralds. So, the Chaos Emeralds, obviously, there's 7 of them. Some of them you get just by playing the game, like you'll go through a boss and you'll get a Chaos Emerald, but there's 3 Chaos Emeralds that you have to get through rival battles. And so there's a rival battle with Metal Sonic, one with Shadow the Hedgehog, and one with Silver the Hedgehog. And all 3 of them are very annoying, I should mention. So they're just kind of scattered throughout the game. Like, I think, like, Metal Sonic's on, like, the 2nd or 3rd level, and then Shadow's on, like, the 5th one, and then Silver's on, like, one of the last ones. They're kind of spread throughout the game. And you could do them then. I did try Metal Sonic and Shadow earlier in the game, and both of them I was very confused how to actually beat them. So I had to actually look up guides when I went to do it this time, and I was very upset because I felt like these rival battles were just adding extra filler content to the game. Like, I did all the platforming levels. I was done with all the platforming levels, and I still had to play the game for another hour and a half or 2 hours, just going around and doing rival battles and collecting all the Chaos Emeralds, all so that they could all work together and build a bridge to go fight the final boss. Like, I found it stupid, and I still find it stupid, but I will say the rival battles were not quite as hard as I originally made them out to be, especially after looking up a guide, and so I managed to get all 3 Chaos Emeralds from Robot Sonic, Metal Sonic, whatever it is, Shadow the Hedgehog and Silver the Hedgehog, respectively, and then I was able to go unlock the final boss. The final boss, actually, I had a lot of trouble with the final boss because you are flying as Super Sonic. I guess not to spoil anything, right? You're flying as Super Sonic with both Sonics, and there's a boss that can move between 3D and 2D, and so you might have to control the 3D Sonic, but then all of a sudden the boss will move, and now you have to control the 2D Sonic, and then 3D Sonic, 2D Sonic. And it's really not hard to hit him, you just have to keep boosting forward over and over again, over and over and over again, and eventually you can hit him. But he has a lot of attacks you have to avoid. It's really not that hard. The problem is while you're flying, you're running out of rings. And so you have to, like, gather rings while in the air, and the rings are just kind of scattered around, and they're sometimes hard to see because you're moving too fast. And so that was my problem, is that I would keep running out of rings because I couldn't see them because I was moving too fast. So, I don't know, that was definitely my biggest annoyance, biggest complaint with the end of Sonic Generations. Had a little bit of trouble, but eventually I managed to beat it. I beat it on June 21st, so a few days ago now. It took me about 6.5 hours total. I think I probably could have done it earlier. I don't know. I just didn't really know exactly what I was doing, especially with the rival battles and stuff, but I managed to figure it out. I beat the game. I'm still quite positive on it, but I think I'm a little bit less positive now at the end, having had to have done all of those extra rival battles and stuff that really, I think they were just there for filler. I don't think there was really any good reason, any good excuse for those to actually be in the game. They were there just because. And I guess, to a point, I had some fun with them, but man, I kind of wish they just weren't there, because it just felt unnecessary in all regards, in all sense of the term. It felt unnecessary. So, whatever the case, they put that in there, and I did it, and it was fine. But I wish they hadn't put that in there, because it would have been even better. So that's Sonic Generations. I did jump into Shadow Generations the same day, and I've played it once or twice since. If I had played it a lot, I probably would have beat it by now, because it's really not much of a long game. It's even shorter than the main game. But Shadow Generations, it's kind of like a Bowser's Fury situation, right? On February 19th, 2021, Nintendo put out the Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, right? They ported it over to Switch, and when they did that, they added in the Bowser's Fury sort of side game. I was going to say side mode, but really it is its own game. It's contained. It's a side game. It's open world. It's a 3D platformer. They did the same kind of thing. Sega did the same kind of thing with Shadow Generations and Sonic Generations. They remastered Sonic Generations for originally PS5, Xbox, and Switch. Now also for Switch 2. They remastered it and they tossed in a new game, Shadow Generations. And Shadow Generations, it's one of those things. I noticed this when playing Bowser's Fury as well, with the 3D World Collection. It's like so much different and better, maybe? Like there's a lot of improved mechanics and stuff. And it seems like they were able to kind of give the original game a second look and say, hey, there's some performance issues, or hey, we can get rid of some of these loading times, or we can make it have more of a spectacle. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and you start to notice, it's like, man, these remastered games, they're still missing some stuff that modern games would have. You know what I mean? That's just how it goes. I'm not complaining about that, but I just think it's interesting how, you see, especially when they're right there side by side, a remastered game and a brand new game using the same engine, and you can see how much more they were able to do when they took a step back and restarted the brainstorming idea. They didn't have to stay true to the original content. That said, I'm still happy to get remasters and stuff. I just think it's also interesting when they add in these extra game modes and you can see sort of the evolution of a lot of those mechanics, especially after originally just seeing them in the original game. So I think that's really interesting. Shadow Generations, like, man, there's a story there. There's a lot of spectacle there. The cutscenes seem very high budget. It's a little overwhelming to a point, but it's quite entertaining. It's quite fun. It's not quite as mindless as Sonic Generations. I don't think. I think there's actually more going on. Like it seems more involved. Which I don't really mind it being mindless. I know when I say Sonic Generations is mindless, I don't really mean to insult it. I'm just saying it doesn't really seem like something you have to focus on, and that can be good. It can be bad, right? I think in this instance, I kind of like it. I'm like, okay, this is cool, right? I can just sit around. I can do these levels, and I'm not really doing anything too taxing. But sometimes I do like, some sort of, you have to put some thought into some things. I like that sometimes. But Sonic Generations is not one of those games, and I knew that. Like, it wasn't like one of those things where I was like, oh man, I want some puzzles or something, you know what I mean? I was totally cool with it being mindless, because I play other games, if I just played Sonic games, then I probably would be upset, but because I play other games, it's not really a big deal. This game can work like that, as long as there's another game somewhere to kind of fulfill any other itches I might have, right? So, anyways. But yeah, Sonic Generations, or Shadow Generations, very similar to Sonic Generations. So far, I think I actually maybe like it better. I don't know. I don't think the level design's quite as good, but I think it kind of presents itself in a different way with the cutscenes and with the spectacle and stuff. Like, I don't know, it seems kind of exciting, and it seems like it's like a cool kind of game. It's pretty neat. It's pretty impressive in a lot of ways as well. So, and it seems well optimized for Switch too. It seems like they did a good job here. I mean, I guess it's probably something that doesn't really need a ton of power, and they had quite a bit of power to work with, so it probably wasn't hard to optimize the game, but I think it's still kind of impressive what they managed to do here. Man, my voice is I'm drying up. If you notice, my voice is going a little weird. My throat's all drying up. It is hot. It is seriously hot where I am. It's like unusually hot for June. It's been literally like 100 degrees. Usually this time of year we expect like 70, 75. It's freaking hot. I mean, it's so I apologize if if I seem to be struggling through this. I have to take a lot of water, so I might record this in chunks as well. But yeah, so Sonic Generations, pretty good game overall, quite solid. I definitely enjoyed my time. It's not so Sonic Generations wouldn't count for my top 50 because I cut it off like a week ago. But even if it did count, I don't think it would make it in. I think it's close. It's a contender, but it doesn't quite make it in, I don't think, anyways. And that's good, because I don't, I'm not going to put it in. So that's Sonic Generations. Shadow Generations, like I said, I think I'm pretty close on, only a couple hours away, so I will probably finish that. Honestly, I'll say it. I will finish that unless I drop it. I'm not going to, I'll either fall off of the game and not beat it, or I'll finish it next time. I'm not going to be in a weird middle state where I'm playing the game, but I'm kind of idle. I will have beat it probably next episode. So I'll definitely talk about that next episode. And then, because I have 3 Switch 2 games on my desk, I keep all the games that I'm actively playing, all the physical ones anyways, on my desk. So above me on a shelf, actually, I have all the Nintendo games, or I should say, all the Switch and Switch 2 games are sitting there in a stack. So I've got Super Mario RPG, because I was doing at one point. Actually, no, I took that away. Never mind. I don't have that game. Lies, lies. So I have Metroid Prime Remastered, which I was playing months ago, and I haven't got back to it. I have Tears of the Kingdom, which I'm live streaming. Those are on Switch 1. And then on Switch 2, I have Mario Kart World, because I'm playing that. I have Sonic X Shadow Generations, and I have Bravely Default, the Flying Fairy Collection. And those are all three of my Switch 2 games. So when I beat one, I'll be able to move them back over to the regular shelf, and for the first time, I'll have a Switch 2 game on that shelf, which is kind of exciting in a way, I guess. And that game, it's really looking like it's going to be Sonic X Shadow Generations, because that's probably going to be done in the next couple of days. Probably not tomorrow, but probably Thursday. I'll probably finish that. So that'll be moving over there. I don't know. It doesn't really mean anything to you guys, but I think it's kind of interesting. And it's exciting, in a way. Taking things off my desk when I'm done with them, and also putting things on my desk when I'm going to play them. Those are both kind of exciting. I also have a stack of PlayStation stuff. There's 2 PS4 games, 1 PS5 game, and 1 PS1 game, oddly enough, that I'm going to play. And then there's also the non-Switch and Switch 2 Nintendo stuff. That's Wii U and Wii that I currently have on there. So there's a number of games on my desk, and it's always exciting to move them off. But so yeah, it looks like Sonic's going to be the next one going. Like I said, in the next week, I'll probably get back to playing some of that PlayStation stuff as well. I was playing Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair before I got interrupted with the Switch 2 launch, because I didn't expect I was going to get one right away. So that's kind of why I didn't plan ahead better. So obviously, I'm very happy to have gotten one right away, so I'm not complaining. But it's definitely it was surprising for sure, and I did not expect that. Another thing that doesn't really mean much to you, but I think it's kind of interesting. I have this book. It's like a little journal. I don't use it as a journal, but it has a Game Boy on the front of it. Found it at Walmart. Actually, I got it for Christmas. My parents found it at Walmart. Anyways, but I put in there all the games I've beaten. So I actually have all the data from last year as well. So it starts on the first page with 2024. It goes all the way from Link's Awakening in January, all the way down to Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on June 26th, and then I ran out of lines. So I went on the back of that page, and I went from Breath of the Wild on July 22nd, all the way to Mario and Luigi Brothership on December 15th. Then, after I made my video, I started the next year's worth of games, which was actually still last year, December 25th. I started with Astor's Playroom, and now, as of a few days ago, when I beat Sonic Generations, I filled up that next page. So the 2025 page is full, and now I'm going to have to go on the back, like I did last year. So I find that cool that I've filled up a page officially this year. We are a page through this year, which is interesting, because we're actually about halfway through the year as well. So maybe there's a shot I fill 2 full pages this year. I don't know. I'm not going to bet on it, but it would be kind of interesting to fill 2 full pages this year. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Maybe I'll bleed over onto a 3rd page even, but we'll see. I just find that cool that I've beaten a full page this year already. Last year, I hadn't beaten a full page until a few days after this. But then I also didn't start on the next page for another month because I was gone out of the country for a little while. So this year, I think I'm moving a little bit faster. But I also have played longer stuff. So I've definitely played more games so far this year than I did last year, which was crazy because I played a lot of games last year, but I think I've definitely done better this year, again, while playing long stuff. So that's kind of cool. It's kind of interesting, maybe a little scary, but it's cool. So yeah, another thing, I have Blue Sky. I was on Blue Sky earlier this year. I started using Blue Sky, or maybe it was last year. I don't really know when I started using Blue Sky. I guess I can check real quick. The podcast also has a Blue Sky account, and I used to plug them on the podcast. I used to say, follow the Blue Sky account and follow the podcast Blue Sky account. I stopped doing that. Okay, yeah, it was last year I started in October. I stopped doing that, but I used to post about all the games and stuff I'd beaten over on Blue Sky, except I always forgot to do it. And I've actually been back on Blue Sky. I've been using Blue Sky again in the last week, so I'm coming back to it. I think I'm going to plug it again. So if you want to follow me on Blue Sky, that is at gingerninja-yt.bsky.social. That link is going to be in the description, or you can just look me up. I am the space Ginger Ninja, just like I am on YouTube, with some video game controller emojis after my name. And I have the old Animal Crossing profile picture. Maybe I should change that, actually. I might end up changing that, but yeah, that's my profile picture on there. You can go follow my Blue Sky account. You can also follow while you're over there, the podcast Blue Sky account. Although if you're already an active listener, I guess it doesn't really mean a whole lot to you to follow the podcast Blue Sky account, but you might as well, right? I'll take the follow, I'll take the support. That's another way to help podcasts grow is following that account. So I'll put both of those back in the description of this episode. I haven't had them in there for quite a few weeks, but I'll put them back in because I'm using them again. But I guess my point is I have to go back to Blue Sky and I have to update all the games I've beaten because I was away for several months on Blue Sky. So the last game that I posted that I had beaten was Final Fantasy 1 on February 4th. So I did come back the other day and I posted about Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards from February. And so I'm going to slowly, when I have some time, work back through some of those games, write a little blurb about them, write how much time it took me to beat them. And I'll be making all those Blue Sky posts over the next couple weeks. And then I'll be all caught up. And then when I beat games, I can post about them over on Blue Sky as well. So that'll be cool. If you want to see that stuff, make sure to do that. I don't think I'm like the most interesting tweeter, but you know, I do I like to post over there sometimes, so if you want to follow me over there, that would be much appreciated. Oh, another cool thing, before we do the news segment, just because I'm thinking about it, even though this is also kind of news related, before I forget, the Nintendo 64 is 29 years old as of yesterday, I think, Monday? I think it was as of Monday, yeah, the 23rd. So, yeah, 29 years old, 64. Obviously, next year is going to be a much bigger year because it'll be the 30th anniversary. But yeah, I thought that was cool. I thought it was worth mentioning while I was thinking about it. Yeah, 64 is kind of old. So we're going to take another music break, and then I'm going to come back. I'm going to talk about the Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct, and then all other news stuff. And that'll probably wrap up the show. I think that's going to be plenty of content for this show. So I will see you all in a moment. So you may have noticed that I forgot to complain about Mario Kart World this week, but that's okay because I can complain about it now. So the Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct was a lot better than the Mario Kart World Direct. The Mario Kart World Direct obviously happening shortly before the Mario Kart World came out, and that Direct was completely dumb. Like, there was nothing, we learned nothing in that Direct. We had known all of the information. But the Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct was actually far more helpful. I want to say there was like anything that I was like blown away, but there were definitely some cool information pieces that we didn't know. We didn't know before the Direct happened. And that was really cool. So like I said, I talked about this a little bit last week. I'm very happy for Nintendo to be doing these little showcases for each individual game before they came out. Kind of wish they would have done one for Splatoon later, though, right? Anyways, so yeah, they did this for Mario Kart World. Now they've done this for Bonanza. Like I said, the Bonanza one was better. Obviously, I don't think that's even like any sort of any surprise or anything. Yeah, the Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct was kind of cool. It was like 17 minutes, I think. I watched it again before I recorded the podcast. Obviously, I watched it not actually the day it came out. I actually forgot about it, and I watched it the next day on Thursday. I'm a fake Nintendo fan. You got me. You caught me. But yeah, so I watched the next day, and now I watched it again before I made this podcast. And I mean, it's not anything too crazy. There's a lot of stuff. You can see a lot of resemblance to Mario Odyssey in a lot of ways, which scares me because I really don't like Mario Odyssey. But not to complain about Mario any further. I'm like suddenly not a Mario fan, am I? Like I gotta like I'm losing my Mario fandom. I don't know. Fanaticism, whatever the case. Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'm excited for it, cautiously excited, I think is how I've described it on a few different occasions. I'm cautiously excited. I'm a little worried about, the game being too similar to Odyssey. I'm a little worried about I'm extremely worried that we're not getting a 3D Mario and that Nintendo's hedging their bets on a Donkey Kong game instead. I'm extremely worried about that. So, there's a lot of worries. I've talked about it a lot. I'll probably talk about it again next week. So I'm just gonna leave that as a topic in case I ever run out of stuff to complain about. Although, knowing me, I probably never will. That's the Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct. I guess I can get a little bit more into it. There's really not that many details to cover, but I will talk about it just a little bit here. Well, as I already mentioned, this game looks eerily similar to Super Mario Odyssey in a lot of ways. It felt like, in general, like the art style, the layout of a lot of the. I mean, in Odyssey there were kingdoms. I don't know what they're going to be in Donkey Kong Bonanza, but whatever. Like the areas, it really did seem quite similar to Mario Odyssey. Also, I guess this is a big thing to point out. Pauline, right? You have Pauline as your companion, I suppose, is how you would describe it. I guess it's like your Cappy, right? And she sings, and she, for some reason, can use sonar while singing to track items. We don't really get into the realism of the monkey game. But anyways, yeah, she's young. She's like young Pauline. Obviously, this confirms the lore that in the Donkey Kong arcade game, Mario was actually just trying to separate friends, longtime friends, and he wasn't actually rescuing anybody. Um, but whatevs. Yeah, so I think there's a lot of good potential for this game, but I can't say I'm not a little concerned. I know I've talked about it a lot. The real question is, have I complained more about Mario Kart World, or have I expressed my concern for Donkey Kong Bonanza more? Like which one has happened more? I don't know. I'd say it's about a tie. But anyways, the good news is I'm sure I'll keep talking about that for years and years to come. I guess I'll actually probably talk about Bonanza for longer than I'll talk about Mario Kart World. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, maybe in 10 years, I'll make sure I'll make a point to complain about it every episode. So anyways, Bonanza. I'm excited. I guess I'm excited. But at the same time, like I said, I'm concerned. I'm concerned really largely for Nintendo. I know the rumors. I keep hearing rumors. About this potential direct. Now they're saying it's in July, which is what I've been saying all along. I'm a little skeptical though, especially with this Splatoon Raiders announcement last week, just shadow dropped over the Nintendo Today app. I'm a little concerned that maybe that is proof that they're not going to do a direct, because you would think if they were going to do a direct, they wouldn't have just put out Splatoon Raiders like that. But I guess, I mean, I don't really know. I mean, they could still, maybe they still want to put out some information about it. I don't really know what the deal is, honestly. I don't think anybody except Nintendo. I'm not even sure Nintendo knows what they're doing when it comes to this stuff. So who knows? We'll figure it out eventually. Who knows? I mean, maybe, one day they'll just randomly at like 3 o'clock in the morning, they'll be like, all right, we're doing our June Direct. And it'll be like November. So I don't know. Whatever. We'll figure it out for sure. Obviously, I would be elated to have a direct, and I really think they need a direct, and I think they need to announce a lot of stuff, because right now it's pretty dry, and Nintendo, they've had the oven closed for a couple of years now. There hasn't been a whole lot coming out, you're here and there. The oven's been broken. They've just been using the stovetop. Now they've finally opened up the oven to show off what they've been baking these last few years, and it's looking pretty empty in there, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that. It's one of those things, like, there's a lot of things that are just locked off. You look at some of the most highest performing things on Switch 1. Obviously, like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. We did get a new Mario Kart game, right? But then you look at like Animal Crossing, right? With this Splatoon Raiders game, presumably that's the same team, and the same team that makes Splatoon also makes Animal Crossing. So if they're making Splatoon Raiders, I would say Animal Crossing's kind of off the table for at least a few years. So that's off the table. Smash Brothers, I mean, you got Sakurai working on Kirby Air Riders. Smash Brothers in a bit of a weird state anyway. I'd say that's probably locked off for at least a few years, likely the whole generation. Then you've got like Mario Odyssey. Assuming this Bonanza thing's by the same team, so that's kind of locked off as well, because I doubt they can turn around and also make a 3D Mario game. If so, it's not going to be till the end of the generation, I would imagine. So that's a little locked off. I mean, it really feels like a lot of the things in the top 10 here. Obviously, a 3D Zelda's locked off. Even a 2D Zelda's locked off. So a lot of the most successful stuff on the Switch 1, it seems like there's no shot that it could possibly come to Switch 2. So I'm a little concerned. I don't know what the game plan is. Even a new Pikmin game's locked off. So I'm a little concerned. I don't know what the plan is here. I hope they know what the plan is here, and I hope it's a good one. Because really, I don't think things are looking too great. It honestly feels like they weren't ready to put out a console. And maybe they overextended a little bit at the end of the Switch generation. Like, I don't really know what to think. So I don't know. I don't want. Maybe I'll be looking back at this in a year and I'll be like, I was such an idiot. We've got so many games, and I hope that's the case. But I'm a little skeptical. So I don't know. I mean, I really hope I'm just being a little overly prudent, maybe a little over negative about this, over pessimistic. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, I really hope there's hopefully some more stuff coming, but again, I'm not positive on it. So that's kind of where I'm at. Also, Donkey Kong Bonanza, they announced a new amiibo for it. Amiibo, I was collecting amiibo for a little while there, but they're a little expensive for what they are, so I just kind of got away from it. I probably will at some point go track down some amiibo. I know a lot of them finally got reprinting, so that's cool. I thought this amiibo looked pretty cool, and I was like, man, maybe I'll actually buy this amiibo. And then I realized that apparently it's $30, which is crazy. Why is an amiibo $30? That's like absurd. That's crazy. I have no idea what is going on with that. Um, did plastic suddenly get like 3 times as expensive? Like I don't know what's going on here. I mean it is a pretty high quality looking amiibo, but man, I don't know. Were the Zelda ones that much? I don't think the Zelda ones were that much. Maybe I'm missing something here. But that's crazy. I thought the amiibos were like 15, even less than that, maybe. Like 12 or 13. I don't know. It seems high. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are going to be the people that are going to buy it. There's going to be people that don't buy it. I'll probably be in the camp of people who don't buy it. I don't imagine these are ever going to go on sale. So it'll just be if I can manage to find it in several years loose. That's the only way in which I think I'll buy this. But yeah, I am kind of thinking of hunting down some amiibos again. I know it's been quite a long time since I've really been in that camp, or in that market to buy some amiibos. But honestly, I really do kind of want to buy some amiibos. So I'll probably get to that at some point here. Because I've got a whole shelf set aside for my amiibo collection, and it's like halfway full. So I could definitely stand to get 20 or 30 more at least. So there's definitely some. I'm not trying to go for a full set, because there's a lot. Like there's the Box Boy amiibo QB, whatever he's called. Like a lot of ones like that are just near impossible to get, and I'm really just not too concerned about it. So, and a few that I just don't care. I mean, do I really need all the stuffed Yoshis? Like I don't think so. But I could definitely stand to get some more of the Smash Brothers and the Mario and the Animal Crossing series. And I guess I want to kind of get the Zelda series too. If I can manage to get all of the Zelda amiibos, that would be pretty cool. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. But that's definitely a thought here. I know there's an IGN article here complaining about the Bonanza amiibo, the price point on it. And yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. I mean, that's like, yeah, that's pretty crazy. Apparently the Street Fighter ones were 40. I don't. That's crazy. I mean, I thought they were like, I really thought they were 10 or 15. But apparently the Street Fighter ones were $40, and this one was $30. I mean, I don't see how you can have an amiibo approaching the price of an actual game. That seems a little crazy. I mean, they were already like, wow, $15 for a little statue. I mean, okay, but I'd rather buy a game. Now it's like, okay, $30 or $40 for a little statue. I don't know, man. That's just doesn't, especially when they have very little utility anymore. I mean, you can use them on things, but they really just don't seem all that useful. I don't know. It seems a little steep, so I don't really know what to think about that. But it is what it is. I guess we just have to deal with it, and that's all right. Another thing dropped randomly in the Nintendo Today app. I don't know why. I think they're really just trying to lean into the Nintendo Today app and trying to make it, trying to bring people to it by putting out these announcements only on the app. Obviously, if you really didn't want to use the app, you'd hear about these things elsewhere for sure. But initially, if you want to be part of the club, if you want to be in the know, you've got to use the Nintendo Today app. Apparently, they dropped in here like they did with Splatoon Raiders. They actually dropped the release date for Drag and Drive or Drag X Drive or Drag Cross Drive, whatever you want to call it. Who cares? It seems to be different everywhere. But Drag and Drive, whatever you want to call it, that's coming out now apparently on August 14th. To be honest, that is pretty much when I expected that to come out. I figured it was going to be in the summertime. Honestly, yeah, I would have predicted August. And yeah, August 14th makes a lot of sense because that's, 2 weeks before Kirby. They wouldn't want to put it the week before or the week after Kirby. And so, yeah, I would have guessed, if I was actually really thinking about it, because I wasn't, I probably would have either guessed the 14th or maybe the 7th. Those would have probably been my guesses. So yeah, that makes sense to me. August 14th, not really any sort of shock here. I really don't know. Is this do we know how much it cost? I don't think we know how much this costs. Is it a full price game? Because if this is a full price game, I mean that's nobody's paying 70 or 80 or even 60 for this. That seems high for a game like this. Honestly, this is the kind of thing that they could put out on Switch Online for free. I imagine they won't, but I imagine maybe they'll have like a free weekend or a couple free weekends. And if they do, I'm actually curious to check it out. Um, but I don't imagine I'm gonna end up buying a game like this. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems interesting, intriguing, I guess in a way, but it just I don't know. It's I question whether it's really worth $60 or $70, and I guess if I don't think it is, I don't have to buy it, right? So I guess that's really the camp I'm in. But yeah, I mean, I can't imagine they could charge more than 40, maybe 50 on this. I'm sure they could get away with it, but just really doesn't seem like the smart move, because I really think this would would perform way better if it was a lower priced game. But who knows that it actually will be? I have no idea. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, I suppose. So in the vein of Microsoft just trying to get their name on everything, we've now got the MetaQuest 3S Xbox Edition. So obviously there was the ROG Xbox Ally X that was a couple weeks ago now with Summer Games Fest. They announced that. I complained a lot about that, and here I am to complain a lot about this. And to be honest, I really don't know many of the details here with this MetaQuest 3S. I've barely read up on it. I probably should have. I'll probably talk more about it. Probably talk more about it next week. But yeah, so this is a VR headset. Obviously, they're partnering again. Or this not again, but this time they're partnering with Meta. Obviously, last time they partnered with Asus. It seems like they're just partnering with everyone under the sun to try to get like they're just horribly failing at selling units. So they're like, let's see if someone else can sell some units for us. So it's the same as the MetaQuest 3S. That's $300, but now it is $400, right? $400, and I think it comes with a controller, um, Game Pass Ultimate, and like the Elite strap for the headset itself. I guess I don't know. I'm looking at this controller. I think it's just a Series X controller. Um, yeah, it doesn't seem different. I mean, it's got green under the joysticks. It's not the exact same as just the black one, but I think the actual controller really is. They've just colored it differently. So cool. You could have green things under your joysticks. I think they stole that from Nintendo. They saw the Switch too, and they're like, "Oh man, let's do that." I don't know. I mean, other people have been doing that for a long time, but yeah, I mean, you get Game Pass. I don't know. I don't know the details here. Can you play every Game Pass Ultimate game on this thing? If so, that's kind of neat, I guess. I mean, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm mixed on this. I mean, it's not nearly as egregious as the ROG Xbox Ally X, which is probably going to be like $1,000. I mean, this could be a lot worse. I think, to be honest, I mean, you are actually, apparently, with the Elite strap, the wireless controller, the Game Pass Ultimate, I don't know how much those all cost, but GameSpot's saying it's a total of $120. I'm gonna believe them here. So, in theory, or sorry, at $220, but you're paying $100 more. In theory, you're saving $120. So I guess that's cool. I mean, and you get a special edition controller. I mean, it actually seems like a decently good deal if you're already in the market for a MetaQuest 3S and you're trying to find any excuse to not buy an Xbox, which happens to be most people. It definitely seems actually like a decent, like if I was ever going to get a MetaQuest 3, I might actually consider this as my option here. So I'm actually not too mad about this. I'm actually not mad about this at all. It just it seems strange. Like I'm not really sure this does a whole lot to help them. Like are they really hoping to get into the VR space here? And honestly, I think if they were, I would think it would be smarter for them to do it themselves, unless they just don't trust themselves to make hardware anymore, which, they really probably shouldn't because it's not so good. Kind of falls apart. Not so high quality. So I mean, I can understand, but I find it weird that they're of the same opinion. I thought that was just me, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, this is it's weird. It's interesting. It's cool. Honestly, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I can see myself buying this and then just using Game Pass Ultimate on the PC. So I don't know. Um, yeah, I know. I'd check it out. I'd check it out. But yeah, it seems like you can probably play everything. I imagine though most of the things are just going to be on a flat screen. So there's probably going to be like there's set few things that are going to be actually playable fully in VR. I mean, maybe I'm missing something here, but I'm pretty sure that's what's actually happening here. I take this first of all, it seems like they're partnering with a lot of companies to put out branded hardware. That seems like their new strat. Obviously, they did it with Asus. Now they're doing it with Meta. That seems like their strategy here. But at the same time, I think this is maybe also a direct response to the PlayStation VR, which I mean, they're like 10 years late on a response to PlayStation VR, but I guess, better late than never, right? So I think this is what they're doing. They're like, hey, look, you can buy this alternative device, and I imagine you can probably stream from the Xbox as well directly. I mean, I don't know here. Although there wouldn't really be much reason to, right? If you could just play it directly on, I mean, I guess, I don't know. Yeah, this seems to me like a sort of a them trying to capitalize on VR without actually having to go all the way and without having to subsidize any sort of development. And it also seems like a direct response to PlayStation VR, which is probably smart, to be honest. And honestly, I think this thing will probably outperform PlayStation VR because PlayStation VR is so ridiculously expensive, and it's also reliant on the PS5. So if this thing's $400, I know the PSVR at one point was 650. It might have come down to like 550, but then the PS5's like 500 even for the base model. Maybe it came down to 450 if you want the disc drive. I don't know, something like that. But you put that together, I mean, you're looking roughly $1,000 to play PlayStation VR 2, and then this thing's 400. I mean, like it does seem like a good proposition for most people. Obviously, the only thing being that it's obviously going to be a little less powerful than a PS5. But I mean, generally, these VR games they don't really take that much anyway. I feel like most of them would probably be fine anyway. So, I think this is probably going to be the way to go for a lot of people, and I think this is actually a smart move. I don't think the ROG Xbox LAX is the smartest move, but I do think this one is a smart move. So, I mean, it seems like they're making some decent choices here, but I can't say it just doesn't seem too necessary. But I could see some benefit from it. So I mean, we'll see what happens. Maybe this whole thing will sell like hotcakes. I don't know. Maybe it'll blow off the shelves. It'll be they sell like it'll outsell the 360. It'll be their best selling piece of hardware. I don't know. Maybe this is the thing to propel VR into the front. I don't know. Like it'll pass main consoles. I don't know. I mean, who knows? Whatever. I mean, who knows, right? Also, I just praised Xbox a little bit. I know that's a little strange, a little out of character for me, but here I am going to complain again. They're layoffs. They're doing layoffs. Xbox layoffs. I know. We're all shocked. We're really, really deeply surprised. I mean, they've like never done anything like this before. Yeah. No, I mean, obviously, I mean, they did this all the time. They did this. They shut down Tango. They shut down. Who else did they shut down? Redfall. Not that's not the name of the studio though. That's the game. Arcane Austin. Yep. They shut down Tango. They shut down stuff in Xbox Game Studios. I think there was even some layoffs within Activision Blizzard. I mean, it is really, really not a good situation over there. They're laying a lot of people off. It seems like they're struggling a little bit. And yeah, I mean, they were buying everybody up like they were gonna have everything done in house, and then now all of a sudden they're like reaching out to all these third parties. It's like it seems so backwards. And honestly, I think that's just what they're known for. All their messaging has always been contradictory, and I think that's why they're failing so miserably. But I didn't complain too much about Mario Kart World today, so I probably shouldn't complain too much about Xbox today. Those are the two things, man. So it's always gonna be those two things. More layoffs. I guess these aren't confirmed; they're rumored layoffs. But Yeah, they're probably gonna happen, aren't they? Yeah, so I mean, it does kind of suck. I mean, people losing their jobs, it sucks. It's bad for those people. It's bad for Microsoft. It's bad for the games industry at large. It's bad for the development of specific games. So, I mean, it's bad for everybody. This is a lose, 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 lose situation. Nobody really wins here. Um, yeah, even Microsoft, they don't win either. I mean, really, this is just a bad situation. Obviously, that's how layoffs go. But it's happening again. This has happened. I mean, let's see. Game Informer says the fourth time in 18 months. Yeah, that sounds about right. Was Tango in the last 18 months? I don't really know when exactly that happened. Yeah, I guess it was right because that was early last year. So I guess that would even be pretty close to 12 months. So yeah, 18 months. That sounds about right. Yeah, four major layoffs in the last 18 months. That's pretty rough. I know there were some Ubisoft ones, but I don't think everybody pales in comparison to the Xbox layoffs. I mean, to be fair, they do probably have the most employees. I think. I don't know. I don't actually know the stats, but I think they do. It does make sense that they would have the most layoffs, but still, it seems like by quite a staggering degree. And I mean, preferably they have literally no layoffs, and so anyways, so I should I should stop complaining about Xbox, but yes, more layoffs. So fantastic, right? Gotta love the company, right? Um, leak. Apparently, the one of the Star Wars games announced back in 2022. It was a RTS kind of tactics thing, and it was supposedly canceled. Now they're saying it's happening, and I guess it's got influence from XCOM because a large amount of the team is from Firaxis back in the day. So I guess that does make a lot of sense. I don't know all the details here, but I guess we could be getting another Star Wars game called Project Bruno. And again, another RTS. Interesting though, because I feel like wasn't there just an RTS announced the other like a few months ago? I think this was shortly before Summer Games Fest. There was like that Clone Wars thing that was like a tactics RTS. So it seems a little weird to have two of those. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know the details here. I don't think anybody knows a ton of details. I'm sure there's people that know more than me. Oh, you know what? Yes, Star Wars Celebration. That's where this game was announced. This other RTS. So I don't know. It seems a little weird to have two RTSs, but I mean, who knows? Thing could not be coming out for years, possibly. So I don't really know. This is on Kotaku. I got this from. So if you want to read the article, you probably could learn more than I know. I guess the script of the Final Fantasy Tactics remaster, which I talked a little bit about last week. I guess that's coming out on September 30th. I didn't actually know that. I didn't realize we knew that. So that's cool, I guess. Apparently, the story or the script has changed significantly. The lead Yasumi Matsuno says the script has been updated because my perceptions have changed. He says. I guess some people aren't too happy about it because it's sort of, you got to be true to the source material. I don't know. I mean, it, if he's the guy who wrote the last one, I think he is, right? He's the guy who wrote the last one. He wrote the original. Now he's writing the remake. I mean, if as long as they're they're not too major, I don't think it really should matter. But I didn't play Final Fantasy Tactics, so maybe there's something I'm missing here. Maybe I will actually play it when it comes out in September, because actually that's kind of intriguing, you know. I'm actually kind of interested. I know September. What else was coming out in September that I was gonna buy? I don't really know. There must have been something. I feel like there was something, but I can't actually remember what it was. So yeah, maybe I will actually buy that because that does seem kind of interesting. Interview with Sakurai from Video Games Chronicle, and says, I think it's quite rare to have a director who can take on a project with hundreds of staff members. There are many people who want to make games and are making games, but there's a shortage of game directors who can manage large scale projects. So, of course, he's saying all rounder game directors are very rare, apparently. Yeah, I mean, I guess, that kind of makes sense, right? I mean, you hear about some of these people that have these large teams and they have these visions, and I mean people like Kojima, people like Sakurai himself. I mean, I guess I don't feel like you don't tend to hear too much about most directors. I feel like generally if you're not hearing about a director behind a game, they're probably not too important, right? I mean, maybe that's a weird way of looking at it, but generally the ones with the crazy visions you're gonna hear about, and they're gonna be important, and they're gonna move on. They can move between studios, and they can maintain their relevance. I mean, obviously Sakurai, he went off and you know he's not always Nintendo. I mean, he's made games that have ended up on other platforms and stuff as well. So I mean, I know there were those rumors as well that he was making an Xbox game. I don't think that ever came true because he's now making Kirby Air Riders. But it's one of those things where he can maintain relevance even when he's not necessarily um, making a game at Nintendo. Because like he had that whole YouTube channel he was doing, and he was still relevant during that, even though he literally wasn't at a studio. I mean, like someone like Kojima, right? He was at Konami, left Konami, and he still maintained relevance. So it seems like, generally speaking, and I guess it's good, the directors that are like that, the all rounders, as Sakurai himself calls it, they tend to maintain their relevance no matter where they are, and I guess that's good, right? Because ultimately it's gonna improve video games. It's gonna make them better. So makes a lot of sense to me. Let's see. Oh, this is a funny thing. I heard about this last week. I might have actually been before I recorded the podcast. In London, I don't actually know where in London. Um, Oxford Circus Tube Station in London. There was an ad. It was a big Metroid Prime 4 Beyond ad, and it said "Out now." If you haven't seen this picture, you should look it up. But yeah, I guess it was someone posted on it and they're like, why does this say out now? This isn't out now. And yeah, I guess somebody in Nintendo of Europe must have messed up because they apparently sent out this huge scale poster that said it was out now, and it's very much not out now. Although that would be kind of cool. But no, it's not out now. It's probably not out till at least October. But apparently it's been fixed. So I don't know. I don't actually know. Did they? Yeah, it just says 2025. So I don't know if they put up a whole new one. I guess they must have put up a whole new one, right? Oh yeah, actually yeah, if you look at the original image though, the out now is like over top of another little thing that says 2025. So maybe somebody made the poster, somebody else thought they were wrong and thought it was already out, so they just plastered it over top. And so they had to go edit it back out and put it back up. So I guess it's fixed now, problem solved. But I'm sure there was some confusion in London. People thought Metroid Prime must have came out, but it did not. It did not come out, so they didn't miss anything. I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny how that worked. Again, Metroid Prime 4. I don't know if I don't think I'm gonna buy it right away because I want to wait until I can play the other Metroid Primes. And currently, I need to go back to the first one, and I need Nintendo to give me a way to play the second and third one because I really don't want to play the second one on GameCube. I'll play the third one on Wii. That's not the end of the world. But if it's gonna come to Switch 2, I'd rather wait for it. I really don't want to play the second one on GameCube. It's just it doesn't seem like something that's aged too well. A lot of GameCube games have aged pretty well. Metro Prime 2 does not seem like one that has. So I'd really like it to come at least to Switch Online, but honestly, I'd really would prefer if it just got remastered. Even remastered, I'd take, but preferably even remade would be great. Whatever they want to do, enhanced port, whatever the case, I hope they do at least something. I read this a few days ago. This is a Video Games Chronicle article that I've pulled up here, but I actually read this somewhere else. I want to say it was videogameindustry.biz, right? I don't know. Whatever the case, Mario Kart producer, he's been interviewed just ridiculous amounts lately. I always forget that guy's name. He's Japanese, man. I don't know most of these guys' names. I'll learn him eventually. Yabuki, that guy. So I guess he was asked why did they not put something to the effects of why did they not put non-Nintendo characters in Mario Kart? Obviously, in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, you had characters like Isabelle, like the villager from Animal Crossing. You had like Link. You had, I guess that was kind of it, right? But you had a few non-Mario characters. A lot of people were speculating that they were going to keep going down that route. They were going to do Kirby. I mean, at one point there was that whole Mario Kart Crossroads rumor, and with the whole concept stemming around. This was before the Forza Horizon style Mario Kart rumor, but the whole thing was stemming around crossovers and Mario Kart. And so, I mean, it was a lot of stuff. So, um, and yeah, they didn't go down that route. Oh, and Inkling as well from Splatoon. They were on Mario Kart too. But yes, I guess he says it wasn't necessary and it could cause. Let's see. As developers, it would have seemed incongruous to add characters from other games in this universe, and it didn't seem necessary given everything we could already do with Mario. And yeah, I don't think it really is totally necessary. I mean, I would have welcomed some other additions, but yeah, I don't think it's necessary. And I think it actually does make a lot of sense, especially with this open world one. If they were going to add someone like Link in there, then people would be asking, oh, well, why can't we go to Hyrule, right? So it makes a lot of sense, actually, when you've just got the Mushroom Kingdom and it's just contained like that, why characters like Link or Inkling or the villager from Animal Crossing, want it be in there. I kind of understand. Like, I can understand the perspective here. And if we ever do get DLC, I could definitely see a situation. I'm convinced we won't get DLC. But if we did, I could see a situation where it's like, ooh, we're adding in Link, and with him, we're adding a whole Hyrule area. And so you've got to go through a mysterious portal, and then you get transported to Hyrule, and then you can play as Link, right? Like, I could see something like that being a thing. So that if they're ever going to add in non-Mario characters, I should say non-Nintendo, non-Mario characters, that's probably how they're going to do it. But now they can't do it because Sega stole the idea, right? the Sonic cross something, whatever it's called. I forgot what the Sonic racing thing is called. But anyway, so I just yeah, so it's a little interesting though that they because I honestly I didn't even think about that. When I started playing Mario Kart World, it didn't even occur to me that they were missing characters like that from non Mario games. Like I guess the thought never really crossed my mind. I never really played as them much back in 8 Deluxe. I mean, I never really played 8 Deluxe much at all, but I never really played as those guys in 8 Deluxe especially. So yeah, I guess I just it just it didn't really occur to me when I was playing Mario Kart World that they were missing. And yeah, this is one thing I will say about Mario Kart World. I'm not upset about them not putting in non-Nintendo characters. Although it is a little weird that we got like the cow from Moo Moo Meadows and before like Kirby in Mario Kart. So yeah, it's a little strange, but he's got his own racing game too. He's got this Kirby Air Rider. I think that was next year. So whatever. I mean, maybe they'll do a Link racing game. He'll be on that the Master Cycle. He'll be on the Master Cycle from Breath of the Wild. I don't know, man. Whatever the case, it's a little interesting, I guess. There was a leak at Sega. I guess accidentally, somebody leaked some sales numbers in like a Google presentation or some sort of like I don't know, some sort of presentation. So we now know that Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which I guess it's been a little while on that one. So some of these are years old now, but I guess we didn't have the exact data. Now we do. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth sold 1.66 million. Like a Dragon, The Man Who Erased Their Name sold 0.96 million. Persona 3 Reload sold 2 million. Is this really for like overall time? I guess so. Sonic Superstars 2.43. Sonic Frontiers 4.57. That's pretty good. Total War Warhammer 2. I don't even know what that is, to be honest. 2.34. SMT 5 2.11. Yakuza Like a Dragon 2.86. So that one actually sold better than the other Yakuzas. Persona 5 Royal 7.25. That's pretty crazy. Team Sonic Racing 3.5, and then Total War 3 Kingdoms 3.21. So as you can see here, I think we all kind of expected this, but Persona seems like Persona and then Sonic. Those are their two, and Yakuza does all right. Nobody's surprised by this, but yeah, I guess it's cool to have the exact numbers. We don't hear always exact numbers, so that's cool, especially for some of these things have been out a few years now. That's cool. We'll take whatever info we can get. Right now we need a Nintendo leak on that. No, I don't really care. I mean, it is what it is. We'll hear rough estimates and stuff, so we'll have a good idea. I guess that's all the news I brought here to talk about. And yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap things up. It's here late at night. I've got to get this I got to get this done so I can get it out tomorrow, and I can. Yeah, I can get it so I can get it out. I mean, that's really where I'm at. And then I have my test tomorrow, my final test I'm all done after tomorrow. So that'll be exciting. I'll go in the morning, I'll get out, and I'll probably be done around 11. And then I've got a after school thing like at like 5 that tomorrow. So and then after that, I'm totally done for good. So the podcast should be able to go out at normal time. No big deal. That'll all be good. You can follow the channel. You can subscribe to the channel if you want. You can also follow me on Blue Sky, and you can follow the podcast on Blue Sky. Both of those links are going to be down in the description. You can join the community Discord and say anything you want. You can have a little chat over there with some people. That's always fun over in the Discord. If we can get some more people over there, that would be great. And I guess that's gonna do it for the show. Make sure to send your emails into notjustnintendo at gmail.com. That's NOTJUSTNINTENDO at gmail.com. And I'm kind of losing it, and I feel ill because I didn't complain enough about Mario Kart World or Xbox today. So I need to end the show before I go off on a little side tangent. So thanks again, everybody, for watching. I will see you all next week, and hopefully, because I'll be a little bit less busy, I'll hopefully have played more games, and maybe I'll have done some live streams and stuff because I'll be less busy. So expect some live streams, expect some videos coming, especially here in July. And yeah, I guess I'll leave you on that front. See you all next week, and goodbye. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thank you.